Welcome to this training video. This is Saeed, and this training video will focus on .NET Nuke. I will just give an introduction to .NET Nuke Architecture. And if you want to see the services that is provided by just etc, you can just see it here. Anyway, that's a little promotion, right? Okay, so .NET Nuke Architecture. Okay, I think I can. The architectural picture is here, and DNN Nuke, it is here. I can keep the picture side by side in addition to the description, right? Okay, what is .NET Nuke? It is a content management system, right? It's on Microsoft stack, right? .NET stack. You have others like WordPress, Joomla. It falls under the same category. Open source .NET based content management system. So in terms of architecture of .NET Nuke, what do we see here? What are the different components? So using .NET Nuke, you can just build one site, multiple site, a portal, yeah, those type of thing. On one installation, you can create multiple site or multiple web application based on what it does, whether your focus is primarily content or your focus is primarily functionality with a web interface. Anyway, so the components are web pages. You can see the web page component, and this web page, they can belong to one site or they can belong, okay, I think web pages can belong to multiple sites. Not necessarily with a DNN, you can just host one site. It's not the case. You can host multiple sites, multiple web applications. And when your sites are different or separated, you can keep separate users, separate user groups. That means roles and contents. Yeah, you can keep the contents, user groups, and user permissions, everything separate for each site. The users from one site will not interfere with the other site. You have that option. And .NET Nuke, it is based on actually modules. There are many modules that provide a specific content or a specific functionality, and each of those pages, they are made of modules. Actually, modules get displayed or embedded into these pages. One page can have one or multiple modules, and the same module can be utilized in multiple sites. The same module can be utilized in multiple web pages, and these modules can be configured differently for each of the site. For different pages, it probably can be configured differently for different pages, but in that case, the module has to have that type of functionality built in. I think by passing some configuration modules, you can configure a module differently for different pages, but in general, if you configure a module for a particular site, it will be the same in all pages unless you take any extra configuration for each of the pages, and provided the module has that feature built in. So yeah, the modules can be utilized in different sites and configured differently for different sites. Service API. Service API is for integration of .NET Nuke with other applications or services. With some external applications and external services, you can integrate your .NET Nuke site or group of sites or portal or application, whatever you say, with some external services and applications that you can integrate with this Service API. Web application framework. It is just the .NET Nuke web application the core application framework, core components of .NET Nuke, core structure and architecture and everything is there. So it is made of ASP.NET Web Forms and Web API. Previously it was, I think, MVC Service Framework, MVC, but recently it got changed to Web API. Okay, and it's on Microsoft platform. So the IIS is the web server and Microsoft Windows Server, it has to be on top of Microsoft Windows Server, and it uses Microsoft SQL Server as the database. However, you definitely can replace the database and you definitely can replace the web server. I did not check what are other web servers in IIS, but I believe it's definitely possible to make some other web server in Windows platform, and you can use it there. May not be directly, you may need customization, but theoretically it's not impossible to host DNN on other web servers. Anyway, so okay, that's the basic .NET Nuke architecture and the different components and their functionalities. Evoke social and evoke content, there are other two concepts. Evoke social, it's some .NET Nuke system that extend the basic .NET functionality or .NET platform, extend basic .NET Nuke platform. It's also made of a group of modules that helps you to create communities and helps you to offer integration or interaction within the communities and also integration with. Okay, I think so for creating communities and interaction among communities within communities, that's the different types of modules that Evoke Social provides. Evoke Content is another one, another system, another extension of the core .NET Nuke. Evoke Content actually sometimes the professional edition of .NET Nuke that is called Evoke Content. It's actually on top of the community edition of the basic core stuff of DNN. So it helps you to create impressive and media rich user interfaces, and it also gives you more control on your contents, more control, content management, content approval, the workflow of content approval, those type of thing, content quality management. It provides features for that purpose. So it's for content management and creating impressive user experience. So Evoke Content, July 2013, .NET Professional Edition is renamed as Evoke Content, and .NET Nuke Enterprise Edition was renamed as Evoke Content Enterprise. So here is one another. So .NET Nuke, it has some basic and core modules, but if you want to develop some other custom modules, you can also develop it. So the modules can provide some specific functionality, or the module can be used to display some special contents. So it's up to you what module you want to develop, and there are providers of modules that can replace the existing core modules. You can also be a provider and write modules to replace the existing core modules. And you can definitely extend the existing modules or existing core .NET Nuke stuff that you definitely can extend, and .NET Nuke supports that have features for easy extension. And Service API, as you told before, it is for integrating with external applications. Just to work other application to make other applications, external application work seamlessly with .NET Nuke, some functionality share or data share, this type of stuff. Design choices for .NET Nuke. In terms of user interfaces, you can use HTML template, HTML skins, or you can also use ASP.NET waveforms, ASP.NET controls, or your custom controls created by you, ASCX user controls. I think it provides definitely rich functionality, but if you are based on your need, HTML skins, that can be a better choice depending on the situation. Security aspect of DNN. The .NET Nuke, the core .NET Nuke, the community .NET Nuke allows you to control permission on the module level. Which user has access to which module and up to what level. So you can control the permission up to module level, and page level control whether users can access a page or not, or which page is exposed to which user group or which user. You can control that aspect of security using .NET Nuke. Evoke solutions, they provide more granular level of permissions. And if you develop your own custom module, you can also develop your custom permission in a more granular level. If you define a module, there will be the module level permissions that will be available there for sure. But if you want to control the permissions in more granular level, then you can do that there as well. So if you want for particular control, say text box or some specific tool like calculator, some special calculator, you don't want it to be exposed to all users, but for a specific group of users, if you want to implement that type of feature, you can implement it, and then .NET you can utilize that. In terms of providing permissions, you can just expose permissions only to user level, or you can create groups on top of users, and you can assign permission to that group or role. A group or role, that's the same thing, just a different term I'm using. So if you assign something to that particular role or group, it will be experienced by all the users up on that group or role. So modular architecture of .NET Nuke. So .NET Nuke, it is actually based on module focused, module first strategy. Some content management systems can be page first. You have the page in mind, how it will look and where it will, what will be where. Just page architecture you keep in mind, and then you design your modules or place your modules in that way. But in .NET Nuke, you think your modules first, you define your modules, implement your modules first, and what it can do, what it can show, and then you think the page, how this module can get displayed, what functionality can it provide in which page, on in what order, in where, all those stuffs like this. So your focus is initially module, then page, and you don't need to worry about the page stuff on the beginning. I think it's just kind of theoretical, but practically you actually have to keep some stuff, page level architecture in mind as well. Anyway, that's the main thing for today. Another thing, if you go to SitesTree.com and if you search for .NET security, you will probably find more information on .NET. If you search for C#, you will get articles on C# for sure. And we have a training video section like english.SaLearningSchool.com. Yep. So training videos are there, SitesTree.com, mostly articles, but I probably will be integrating videos there as well. Just keeping stuff in one place, then keeping it here and there. Bangla.SaLearningSchool.com, it's primarily in Bengali language, but it's mostly training videos. And blog.SaLearningschool.com, that's primarily blog. Yeah, And if you have any questions and concerns, you can go ask.justetc.net. You can post it here. Myself or someone else will be answering your concern. Anyway, have a good day. Oh no, one more thing I want to show you. So as I told, it was previously service framework, then service framework MVC, and then it came web API, building web services on top of HTTP. Web API is the most recent stuff. So you may need to, based on if you're using an older version, you may have services framework, MVC, but if you want to convert it to web API, there are some stuff you can check converting services framework MVC to web API and why. That probably you can check. Web API tips. If you know the details, web API and some tips, you can check it here. DNN software, community blog, CID 144 web API, dash tips. So getting started with services framework, web API edition. Some information, yeah, you can just search with this stuff in Google, you will definitely find it. And this is the .NET Nuke API reference. So you can see DNN 6 docs. Actually, it's old stuff. You need to find out the most recent API for the most recent version of DNN. Okay, thank you a lot. Have a good day. Bye bye.